All right, so a huge thank you for everyone tuning in. And all I have to say is, wow, this is going to be a treat. So get your notebooks ready. I would pull over if you're driving. My friend Bob Wells is on the podcast, and he was gracious enough to give me some moments of his time here. And I just want to say a couple things about Bob before we get started. So Bob is a friend and a mentor of mine for going on 5 years. Someone that I really admire and look up to. He's an operating principal in Keller Williams. He's a former Marine sergeant, a senior trainer in the Tony Robbins organization, and now he's doing all kinds of things. I know he's buying golf courses and wineries, and I don't even know what else to say besides the fact that he's winning, right? And when I think about Bob, I really think about operational excellence. And I think about someone that I would want to be in the foxhole with and I would want in my corner. And I'm just so happy to share him with you today. So, Bob, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, I'll mirror your initial exclamation. Wow, that was an awesome introduction. Thank you, Greg. Hey, listen, I'm really honored to be here and to spend some time with you and chat a little bit with you and your audience. And I think we'll have a wonderful time today.
Awesome. So, Bob, just talk to me a little bit about your background. I know you have a very diverse background, and then I'd like to get into your journey. So if you can just bring me back to the early days, I would really appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm originally from the Wyoming Valley, and I left Wyoming Valley, Pennsylvania when I was a kid. I went into the Marine Corps, which, honestly was an important part of my story, because it shaped my belief in who I was. And I think that anyone on any entrepreneurial or wealth building journey has to be conscious of who they really believe they are. And all of our life experiences right up to this point add to that. And we can shape it purposefully beyond that in a personal development way. But that's how it all started, with time in the Marine Corps. And then after that, I went to Saudi Arabia as a military advisor. I was there for 5 years. I met my fabulous wife, Usha Patel, there, who's the real talent in the family. We came back to the United States, and we became involved in network marketing when we were quite young. And we had a network marketing business that I did in New York City and Manhattan. I did a lot of the opportunity meetings for that company on Madison Avenue. I learned a lot from that industry. It didn't kind of work out the way I thought it would, but I learned how to take a lot of rejection and a lot of public speaking opportunities there and a lot of visioning. I think whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And
absolutely, absolutely.
And I think also everything we've done in our life, we bring forward to today. So after that, I decided to look into real estate. My sister was a real estate broker, and joined her company. She had a small brokerage. We went to a little company called Remax. After that, we were there for 8 years, at which time I got involved with Keller Williams. I met a guy named Mike Campo, who's been my mentor and a guide for me over many, many, many years. I think, wow, since 2004. So this is, going on 18 years now. And I became his partner in 2006 at Keystone Partners Group, which now owns and operates 12 Keller Williams offices across 3 states. I'm currently an owner partner, not an operating principal, an owner partner in those companies. As you said, also, I do a lot of personal development work for myself and for other people. I do a lot of as a trainer for Tony Robbins, an international trainer. I spend a lot of time in Fiji and around the world, helping people on their journey, which I find to be really fulfilling. It also has helped me in some of the toughest times in my business career. Not only that particular environment, but many personal development environments. When the going gets tough, the tough go for help, right?
Yes.
Together everybody achieves more, and I've always maximized that. And then that moved on. Eventually, I've become a professional investor, so I invest in large-scale residential projects, commercial projects, and many businesses. Also, my latest projects are the co-syndication of large-scale resort communities. One is Renault Winery and Golf Resort in New Jersey. Another is Kent Island Resort across from Annapolis on Kent Island. And our most recent is LBI National Golf Resort in New Jersey. right off Long Beach Island.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a partner in that one.
Happy to have you.
Yes.
But that's kind of the snapshot of kind of how I got to where I am today. A lot of failing forward and a lot of depending on people that are smarter than me. I think I've been very fortunate in my life to be able to surround myself with people who are really talented and have been able to guide me and mentor me along the way. And I never stopped being grateful for that. And I never stopped understanding that without them, I wouldn't be where I am or have achieved any of the things that I've been able to achieve. Although I still believe those things are quite modest compared to so many other people in the world that I just do things that just astound me in so many different ways.
So Bob, talk to me about failing forward, right? So as most entrepreneurs know, and everybody that's on the beginning of their journey right now, entrepreneurial, the path to success can be pretty bumpy, and there's a lot of ups and downs and ebbs and flows, right? So
Yeah.
just talk to the person right now that's on their upward climb and that feels like every time they're taking 3 steps forward, that they're taking 3.5 steps back. And at times they're getting discouraged, they're getting off track, they're getting off path, but they know that they have to keep going. So can you talk to me about that journey for you? Because I know based on your tenure and your track record, you've been through many market shifts, but just talk to me about that.
No, Greg, I think that most entrepreneurs know in their subconscious mind that they have to fail. I mean, they know that. I think we've all heard enough times in our life that you have to kind of fail forward, and you learn more from failure than you do from success. So I think what we have to do is bring that out of our subconscious mind and put it in our conscious mind and say, hey, listen, I'm going to use every failure as an opportunity to become better and better and better at what I do. And I've interviewed on my own podcast a lot of really successful people, and to a T, they will all say the same thing, that most of the things that they learned in their life, they learned when they took 3.5 steps back. But I also believe that success is gradually then suddenly. And let me explain what I mean by that.
Please do.
I believe success in almost every area of life, whether it be your personal finance or your business or your relationships, it all starts with slow progress, if not no progress at all. And you start to build skills and habits and knowledge in the particular area you want to excel. Say, for instance, if it's financial independence or financial freedom, it starts very slowly, and you do things and you fail, and you fight and you fail, and you make mistakes and you learn. And over time, the majority of people who are not persistent and not committed, just before all of these things start to become synergistic, they'll quit. And those people who are truly committed, those knowledge, skills, habits, and networks start to grow and synergistically combine to give them the resources they need to go from kind of down here to boom. All of a sudden, they see this huge, gradually then suddenly success in either business or any other area of their life. So I think people have to say to themselves, wow, where am I on that curve? Am I on the gradually part? And if so, am I committed enough to continue to become a better and better version of myself to get to the point where I can hit that suddenly stage of my growth in my business?
See, that's such a great point. And that was a key takeaway that my wife and I actually had from our first exposure around you, Mike Campo, your wife, Usha, Sean. And I remember when we first joined Keller Williams, right? You start to look at the different opportunities that we had as a result of where we were. And then I even started to think about when I bought my first investment properties, and it's not that sexy when you're only making, $1,000 a month in a rental property. And at times it can be deflating, right?
Yeah.
But what I realized is that by surrounding myself with the people that hit that suddenly curve and then just went straight up to the moon, that I just had to keep going. And I think that that's the key message that I'm hearing from you is you have to keep going. And if you don't start somewhere, how are you ever going to get to where you want to be?
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that the facet of that thought that has to be constantly examined is you have to keep going in a state of constant, never-ending improvement.
I love that.
But if you continue to do the same things, if you continue to be the same person, you'll continue to get the same results. But if during this process, you are very purposeful about becoming a better and better and better version of yourself, then eventually you'll be able to achieve things that you could never have dreamed of, because you're not the person that would have dreamed it, right?
Yeah.
The person that couldn't dream it was a different person than the person that achieved it, because they've become that different person. And everybody that fails backwards a little bit has become that better person. So they're just closer to where they want to be.
Love it. All right, let's switch tracks now and just let's talk about stress, right? I want to be as real as possible on this podcast, and I want to deliver as much value as humanly possible. How do you manage not getting, and living in a constant state of stress, or even on your climb upward, right? How do you get to the point where, oh my God, I have so many responsibilities. I have so many people that rely on me. If this investment doesn't work out, everything can just get pulled away from me. How do you personally manage the common stressors in life and in the entrepreneurial journey?
That's a big question. I would say, first and foremost, the process of getting help is probably pretty important there. And I'll give you a case in point. In 2004, 5, 6, all of our companies were doing exceptionally well, right? It was in 2007 we started to realize that something was happening in the economy. 2008 we had a big crash, right? Real estate companies were suffering because there were some major problems with our economics. Mm-hmm. And we realized that we needed to be a different version of ourselves right then in order to be the people we needed to be to deliver on the promises that we made. So first and foremost, I say, when you find things getting difficult, go find a world-class coach. Put yourself involved in programs that will allow you to think in a really positive and unstoppable way. Surround yourself with people that think differently than the vast majority of people. And by doing that, you're strengthened by the people around you. Most entrepreneurs find that they spend an enormous amount of energy trying to buoy the people up around them. What they forget is they need to find a network that buoys them, right? So that they can buoy others. They need to be empowered so they can empower.
I love that.
So that would be my first thought is that. Second of all, we have to get outside ourselves. We have to stop thinking, woe is me and all the challenges that I have, and we have to start thinking about other people. As soon as you get outside of yourself and focusing on the well-being of other people, it becomes a very fulfilling endeavor. All of a sudden, you're not trying to survive, you're actually empowering others to survive. And that actually meets one of our basic human needs of contribution, right? Which also, by the way, is one of the needs of fulfillment. It's one of those two needs. Growth and contribution is how we become fulfilled as humans, right? So if we're growing at the same time as we're contributing, we feel fulfilled, even though we're surrounded by, whatever it might be that's really scary to everybody else. We don't feel that, we don't perceive that, because we're fulfilling needs that give us that feeling of empowerment.
Wow. So you took me exactly where I wanted to go next, which is contribution. And I know that's so huge for you. So thank you so much for sharing your insight on that. All right, let's talk about the current state of the market, right? Everyone is concerned about what's going on in the market, rising interest rates. I know a lot of people, especially the ones that I speak with on a daily basis and consult with, they all felt like that going into COVID, for example, everybody was talking about the shift. Then COVID hit, and then just boom, everything went up, right? Real estate went up. It was just going gangbusters, right? And now that we're kind of on the back end of COVID, it seems like we're headed in some kind of direction, whether that's inflationary, stagflation, recession. Regardless of what's coming, because a lot of this is out of our control, right? What would you be doing for the person that's still on that gradually path to make sure that their lives and their families' lives are not disrupted regardless of where we're going?
First of all, listen to smart people like Warren Buffett. I remember during the 2008, 2009, right? Warren was interviewed and somebody asked him, what do you need to invest in right now? I mean, what would you, if you're talking to your audience, what would you invest in right now? And he said, well, the number one thing you should invest in right now, which would be the number one thing you should invest in all the time, is yourself.
I love that.
I'm sorry I keep getting back to the
I love it.
The bottom line is that's the number one thing. You got to invest.
Personal development.
Yeah. Number two, personal and professional development, right? Your business grows to the extent that you do. So you can't tear the two apart. Anybody who says, I'm going to develop my business, but not myself, they're just kidding themselves. That's not going to take them to their highest level of achievement. But beyond that, I think another key thing to keep in mind that will help you sleep at night is everything in the world is cyclic. Everything in our lives are cyclic. We are born and we all die. The sun rises and the sun goes down. The economy goes up, the economy goes down, the economy goes up, the economy goes down. It has been doing the same thing for millennia, okay? All we have to do as entrepreneurs or business people or wealth builders is say, okay, so if I know it's going to go up and down and there's nothing I can do about it, what do I have to do? What do I have to learn? What skills do I have to develop in order to take advantage of the market when it's going up and the market when it's going down? People have lived before us, right, Greg?
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously there have been agents in 2008, 9, 10, 11 that really suffered. And there are agents in 2008, 9, and 10 that took all of the market share and have since become the best of the best at what they do. So they saw that down market as an opportunity to capture market share. And they knew it was because they spoke to people who had done it in the last down market and did the same thing and expected the same results. And in large part, got it, right? If we fear the down market, then we're going to take less action, which gives us less results. It gives us a less belief in our capabilities, which means we take less action, get less results still, and it's a negative feedback loop. But if we look at it for what it is and take advantage of it, then we can capitalize on it. Same thing holds true for investment. Obviously, when the market goes down, I mean, right now, it's safe to say that many assets are overvalued.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the old adage is, buy high, sell low, right? No, right?
No.
The whole point is buy low, sell high. So if the market is going to shift in a substantial way at some point, and we know it will at some point, we don't know if it's next year in 10 years, who knows? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. But when it does shift, what's going to happen to asset value?
It's going to go down.
Go down.
Yep.
Right? When assets are undervalued, what do we do as smart business people?
Go on the buying spree.
We go on a buying spree, right?
Yeah.
When every other people are in fear, then we go into purchase mode.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see a down market, I understand that number one, it's an excellent opportunity to take market share. And number two, it's an excellent opportunity to acquire undervalued assets. So I just see an excellent opportunity. And don't let me tell you that deep in the back of my mind, I don't have this little fear that things are going to suck. Bottom line is we all have that little
yes
monkey in the background that says these kind of things to us. We just have to. You can't control your first thought, but you can control your second. So we have to control our second thought and say, wait a minute here. I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my surroundings, and I'm going to capitalize on it. And that's what I'm going to say.
Love it. All right. I'd like to wrap up with a few final questions. I know your time is valuable. You were gracious enough to give me your time. So
not as valuable as yours. I'm sorry.
All right. So here's a selfish question, right? Because I am really intrigued and always interested in the morning routine habits of high performers, especially somebody performing at your level. Can you talk to me about your daily morning routine and what that looks like?
Yeah, my daily routine has not changed a whole lot in the years since I was actively involved in business. I'll tell you right now, I was much more intensely involved actively when I was in operations in my companies. I'm no longer in operations. I'm honestly more of in a consulting mode now, in a support and a teaching mode. But my mornings now, I always get up early. I'm always up by 5 o'clock or so, maybe 6 o'clock at the very latest. We have a home in Palm Beach on the ocean and a home here in Bethlehem. I tend to get up a lot earlier in Bethlehem than I do at the beach. But it always starts now with exercise. I get up really early. I go for a 3-mile run on the beach. I do sets of 25 push-ups and body twists and squats on the beach, maybe 10, 20 sets on the way out. But the time I go out and back, or I go for a big bike ride or something like that. For me, that's just the best. I mean, when you're taking care of your body, it changes the way your chemistry is, and it changes the way you think. It changes your perspectives and your attitude. Super important. Now I also spend a lot of time with Usha. We might spend an hour, just the two of us, and we just sit and chat. We talk about our life. We talk about where we're going, what we're going to do, how we're going to get there. Those things are really important. Then we eat really healthy. I only eat organic foods. I'm a pescatarian, you could say. I mostly eat fish, which is only salmon, haddock, and flounder, and a lot of fruits and vegetables. So that gives me a lot of energy. Just recently, I got control of that. I had let it go for a while. I was up to maybe 23% body fat. And in 10 months, I went from 23 to 9.7.
Wow. Kudos to you.
Every once in a while, you zig and zag, right? Every once in a while, you wake up and you say, wait a minute, what am I doing? I haven't done anything for a long time. I'm getting a little fat and lazy. And you say, okay, I'm going to change that. And you just change it and you get back into your routine. Sometimes you fall off, you get back on. And you continue. It used to be that I had a number of other, I used to do a lot of reading, particularly. And I usually do that in the morning also. Not a lot, but maybe 10 or 15 minutes minimum, maybe an hour. Sometimes I watch videos. I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio, who I suggest, if you don't follow him on YouTube, follow him. He's a brilliant business mind, and he educates people on economics and how to think about what's happening right now in today's world economically. He's a multi-billionaire, just a fabulous human being. He doesn't need to make any money. I think he's like $20 billion net worth or something. This guy's good at
world class.
He's a unicorn. He makes money no matter what's happening in the market. That's the kind of person I like to listen to. But those are kind of the habits I have now. I used to have a very, very serious lead generation habit when I was active in my business. But I'm as I said, I'm a professional investor. So really, what I do now is I'm looking for opportunities. I analyze opportunities, and I look to create opportunity for other people, which is what I'm really passionate about. I have been for a long time. I've taught the subject, as you know, financial mastery since 2009. To thousands of people. And that's just how to get from wherever you are in your financial world to where you want to be, and do that in a methodical, systematic, models-based way. Yeah,
my wife and I took that, and it was a life changer for us. It really helped to get things on track.
Cool. I'm happy. I was really happy to have you as there, maybe more than once, I think.
Yeah. All right. Two final questions. So, here's the question about the entrepreneurial conversion process, right? For the person that's maybe dual career right now, knows that they're meant for so much more, but they're so hesitant to take the leap and leave the day job, or they're even hesitant to talk to their spouse or their significant other about it, right? What would you tell them? What would be your consulting around that?
That's a great question. First of all, I'll plug a book from a friend of mine, John Clyde. John Clyde just wrote a book. Is it Exiting Six Figures? Or?
I think it's. I'm gonna try to get John on the show as well. I think it's Leaving Six Figures.
Leaving Six Figures.
Yes.
And it's an awesome book. He was a state trooper, and just a couple of years to retirement, and that was a lot of benefits. And he walked away from that to follow his passion, and it worked out in an amazing way for him. But here would be my perspective. Sit down with your spouse and unplug from the world and decide what you really want. What do you want? What do you want your life to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? What lifestyle do you want to live? Where do you want to live? How do you want to work? When do you want to work? If you want to work, and what you want your relationships to be with your kids, what you want your health to look like, what you want your contribution to the world to look like, everything you could think of. And then ask yourself a real simple question. Once you come up with what you really want, not what you're thinking of you could afford, but what you really want. And ask yourself a simple question. Is what I'm doing right now going to get me there? And if it's not, you make a decision. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing now and get whatever it gives me. Or I'm going to step out and do what I know needs to be done in order to have the life I really want for myself and my family. Now, that's a scary thing. You know, I remember when I first went into business with Mike, I have had and still have huge faith in Mike Campo as a business person and a friend. And I took a job. I was making $250,000 a year, and I went into business with Mike. I took a job at $45,000 a year plus bonuses. Right now, that might sound like a stupid idea, but in reality, I believed that I was going into business with people that together we could create amazing things. And I felt, I still feel today, that I would be able to create that life I really wanted by stepping back a lot. That's 5 steps back, right?
Yes, yes.
But with the belief that our vision that we have and had together would allow everybody to achieve what they wanted to, what they really wanted. And it was a tough decision to make. It was a really tough one. But for me, I think you need 2 things, and I'll leave your audience with this in order to make that jump. Number 1, you need to have belief that you can. You know, we come up from childhood with so many limiting beliefs in our subconscious mind that tell us we're not good enough and we can't do this and can't be that. We don't even know they're there, but we picked them up when we were 6, 7, or 8 years old, and they still haunt us about what we're not, right? You have to have belief in yourself. And if you don't have it, you can build it. You just have to be purposeful. And number 2, you have to have leverage. You have to have something that is so driving. It compels you to do things today that others won't, so you could have tomorrow what others can't, right? And that could be a vision for your life. That's what you sit down with your spouse and say, what do we really want? And are we willing to flush that away for security? Or are we willing to step out and take what we know we can have in our life? So I suggest people build the belief systems they need and get the leverage they need to step out and do what they know they need to do to get what they want. And I wish them all the luck in the world that they achieve it. They have my complete blessing.
Wow. So Bob, we're going to wrap on that. That was so powerful to me that I got chills back to when I was preparing to leave my full-time career in 2017. And I wish that I was able to hear that message or speak to somebody such as yourself when I was leading up to the final months and the final days and the final weeks. And that was just powerful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Greg. I'm just glad I had somebody to tell me that back when as well.
Yes, yes. And now I have something to share with people that are in a similar spot. So this is just incredible. So Bob, for those people that want to get in touch with you, that maybe want to know more about the syndication projects that are coming up or just anything in general, what's a good place for them to find you at?
Yeah, they could always reach me at my email, bobwells@kw.com, bobwells@kw.com. And you can reach out for anything. If you have questions about stepping forward in your life or belief systems or leverage or anything like that, if I could be of assistance, I would be more than happy to do that. My pleasure.
That's incredible. Well, I will say with extreme gratitude, thank you so much for doing this. And I deeply appreciate it. And I know that our listeners are going to love it as well.